Hello, hello, fairy friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be recommending 7 books for you to read that have dragons in them. The first and one of my favorites is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. In this book, we follow a young man named Faerie as he sets off to get revenge for his father's death. Unfortunately, he isn't that well prepared, and so he does have to go into the military and train himself to be able to be strong enough to defeat the people that he wants to kill. I think my favorite part about this book is that the main character is definitely very flawed, and we get to watch him train and fail and realize he's not good enough, try harder, train again, do better. This is very much a story of like perseverance, and even despite his training, he still makes like stupid choices and bad decisions. He does have to learn a lot from his mistakes. There is kind of a found family aspect in here as well with some of the people in his military group that he's training with. There is magic where women are kind of like the more powerful gender in this society. There is a lot of discussion of class and social status. There is kind of this caste system that gets dissected throughout the background of this plot. And the magic system in here is so cool. The women kind of connect to this like demon realm kind of thing and draw power from it and then use that power to enhance the abilities of the warriors that they're like working in tandem with. Like it's really so cool. And only the women are able to do this magic. So it really kind of shifts a little bit of the power dynamics. And I love it. I love this story so much. I actually really want to reread it. I'm really waiting for Evan Winter to finish book 3. Evan Winter, what do I need to do? I will get on my hands and knees. I will beg you, please finish book 3. Book 1 and book 2 are genuinely 2 of my favorite books of all time. They're so fast paced. I think the characters are easy to relate to because they are flawed. They're not perfect. And I personally find that I like reading about those characters more because I do relate to them. Whereas like when there's a perfect character on the page, I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Like couldn't be me, like I don't relate to that. So I don't enjoy it as much. But I really love watching the internal struggle here, the physical struggle here. I think the training sequences are really unique. It's like a group training kind of thing. And it's been a long time since I've read it, but from what I remember, it does change and grow as their strengths change and grow. So, they work on certain things depending on what their weaknesses are, and then they move on to new training exercises. It just really, it's so good. It's so good. If you like a military fantasy, you're gonna like this one because it is very gritty military fantasy. There's magic, there's dragons. The dragons don't take place like throughout the entirety of the book, but they do kind of come in around the middle, I think, if I remember correctly. We do get occasional glimpses as well into some of the past because this war that they're fighting has been going on for like an eternity. They're at this precipice now where this war has been going on for so long. Like they're like, something's got to change. What can we do to like, turn the tides in our favor? I really love it. There's a lot of give and take in here, a lot of failure, a lot of learning, a lot of trying again. And it's just a fantastic story all around. And I really love Evan Winter's writing style. Yeah, like I said, where's book 3, Evan? Okay, bestie, where's book 3, Evan? I need you to pull through for me, okay? You can't leave me hanging. Please don't become a Patrick Rothfuss. Okay, don't do it. Please. The next book I'm going to recommend is Malice by John Gwynne. Again, this is such a fantastic series. This isn't necessarily like a military fantasy, but there is a military and there is a war. Clearly there's a theme here in fantasy, right? But we follow a young boy named Corbin, somehow ends up entwined in this war. There's something to do with a prophecy where there is a prediction that one person could save the world and one person could destroy it. And there is this person going around and saying that he is the savior. And so he's kind of gathering all these forces and they're intending to fight the opposing forces and There's just a lot of like betrayal, mystery surrounding like what is actually going on. There's such cool magic. The magic is very subtle. Like you could almost not realize it was a fantasy if you weren't told ahead of time. But there are worms in here with a Y, WYRMS, worms, which are in fact a draconic creature. So I want to include this on my Dragon Rex list. And the worms are, again, part of this prophecy. I think it says something about like once the worms reappear, like something about creatures reappearing, like creatures of old, like once they start coming out of the woodwork again, like then the prophecy is like happening. And so there are a lot of these signs of this prophecy starting to come to light. And Corbin and his sister and his family all find themselves involved in different ways. And there's a lot of points of view in here. We get points of view from multiple like regions and multiple people and multiple sides of this war. And I just love what John Gwynne does with opposing forces. I think that it's so unique the way that you see everyone's side of the story, because you're seeing them be the main character in their own story, like each and every one of them. And I just really love it. I think that this series is so solid overall. I think that book 3 was my favorite, if I remember correctly, but it is absolutely a series that I can't wait to reread because all 4 of them are so thick, and the world itself, like the scope of it is just massive, right? Like there is so much history and lore and knowledge and like courtly politics and stuff to like wrap your head around that I don't think you could truly grasp it 100% just reading the series one time. So I think it has great rereadability for that reason. And the magical creatures in here are so cool. The worms being one of them. There are some other magical creatures that I will not spoil for you because I think it's really fun for you to kind of see what they are as they appear, because a lot of them are sort of like, oh, weird, shocking, interesting. So I don't want to ruin that joy for you. But this is another great series that does involve worms. I will say that once you get past like book 1, there isn't really like a lot of draconic stuff happening. But in this one, we do get to see at least a couple worms make their appearance in here. So therefore, we're counting it. We're counting it as a book with dragons, okay? Maybe I'm stretching the rules a little bit for this one, but that's fine. The next book I want to recommend is 6 Wild Crowns by Holly Race. I read this as an ARC last year and I fell in love with it. This is a historical fantasy that is based entirely on Henry VIII and his 6 wives. I will read the synopsis for this one for you because I don't want to get the synopsis wrong because it is based on real people. So let me read this one for you. 6 queens, 1 king, a kingdom bound by magic, teetering on the edge of ruin, or so they've been told. Tradition demands that the king of Elbin must marry 6 queens and magically bind each one of them to one of the island's palaces, or the kingdom will fall. Clever, ambitious Boleyn is determined to be her beloved Henry's favorite queen. She relishes the games at court and the political rivalries with his other wives, and if she must incite a war to win Henry over, so be it. Seymour is her opposite, a reluctant queen, originally sent to court as a spy and assassin, but now trapped in a loveless marriage. But when she and Boleyn become the unlikeliest of things, friends and allies, the balance of power begins to shift. Together they discover an ancient rotting magic at Elbin's heart, magic that their king will do anything to protect. Now the only hope of survival rests on Boleyn and Seymour uniting all the rival queens before Henry can stop them. There is also an author's note in here about the like history a little bit. The author mentions some actual historical authors. Tracy Borman, Susanna Lipscomb, Haley Nolan, Elizabeth Norton, Gareth Russell, Alison Weir, and Lucy Wortley, who the author all read historical books about Henry VIII. and the Tudor era to learn about this point in time. She also does say that this is a fantasy world, even though it's inspired by history, and she takes a lot of liberties, especially with Mary Boleyn and Jane Seymour. Some of the social constructs have been changed. And then she says, in a historical fantasy about a polyamorous king living in a world where horses and stags live alongside dragons, I trust that the occasional alteration from the historical record can be overlooked. Throughout, I have tried to write with the deepest respect for the 6 passionate, talented, maligned women who nearly 500 years ago found themselves in impossible life and death situations, and who nearly 500 years on continue to hold our fascination. And I hope that in reading 6 Wild Crowns, anyone who spots a historical inaccuracy will, to steal Anne Boleyn's final words, judge the best. So I think it is really clear that this author has a lot of respect for these historical figures, and this story is just inspired by that and isn't meant to represent it accurately. And the dragons in here are they're literally so cool. So there are lamp dragons, which are dragons that glow, and they live in these like beautiful wrought iron, almost like lamp cage things that hang from the ceilings as like light fixtures. And then there are little lap dragons, which I'm picturing as like little cats that curl up on your lap, but it's a dragon and it's so cute. The dragons are like always there. They're not really like the point of the story. There is a lot more going on to it than that, but the dragons are there. The dragons are there. The setting of it, like the Tudor era dramatics and the clothing and the way that like the upholstery is described and the way that like the palace is described and everything like that really just suits this like little tiny lap cat dragon situation so well. It just makes me wish that lap dragons were real and that I had one. There's also some other magical creatures in this world as well. Not too many, maybe just like 2 or 3 that get mentioned in a couple of scenes, but the majority of this does follow Seymour and Boleyn, but the lap dragons are very cute. And so yeah, they're also, you can see the dragons on the cover, the green there, and another one there at the bottom. Gorgeous. I love the design of this book as well. It's just so beautiful. Absolutely stunning. The next dragon book I'm going to recommend is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monoquill Blackgoose. This is a YA fantasy. I believe it is the only YA I have on my list. No, that's a lie. I have 2A on this list. I just haven't gotten to the other one yet. I'm going to read the description for this as well because it's been a little bit since I've read it. The remote island of Masquapog has not seen a dragon in many generations until 15-year-old Anacus finds a dragon's egg and bonds with its hatchling. Her people are delighted. For all remember the tales of the days when dragons lived among them and danced away the storms of autumn, enabling the people to thrive. To them, Anacus is revered as Nempeshawayasit, a person in a unique relationship with a dragon. Unfortunately for Anacus, the English conquerors of her land have different opinions. They have a very specific idea on how a dragon should be raised and who should be doing the raising. And Anacus does not meet any of their requirements. Only with great reluctance do they allow Anacus to enroll in a proper English dragon training school on the mainland. If she cannot succeed there, then her dragon will be killed. For a girl with no formal schooling, a non-English upbringing, and a very different understanding of the history of her land, challenges abound, both socially and academically. But Anacus is smart and determined, and resolved to learn what she needs to help her dragon, even if it means teaching herself. The one thing she refuses to do, however, is become the meek English miss that everyone expects. Anacus and her dragon may be coming of age, but they're also coming to power, and that brings an important realization. The world needs changing, and they might just be the ones to do it. I love this book because Anacus is such a sure-footed character. Like, she really just knows who the fuck she is. She comes from an indigenous island, and her indigenous culture, it plays a big part in her like identity and the way that she wants to like, you know, live her life. And so she goes to this English school, which is white people. It's white people coming to fucking boss around indigenous people as per usual. But she goes to this white school, and it's for dragon trainers. And so they're trying to teach her their white ways of dragon training, and it's very harsh, and it's very strict. And she comes in and she's already behind. I say behind, by their standards, because she didn't have a like English upbringing, and so the things that she learned that were important in life are different than what they're teaching, and so she's really having to play catch up. Her teachers don't really want to give her any extra effort, which is really unfortunate because they are really just setting her up for failure. And she is determined not to let them win. She's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'll play by your rules. I'm going to be as good as I possibly can, teach myself as much as I can. And her culture and her identity actually are really the thing that kind of give her this breakthrough. Like, the way that she views the world is actually her strength. And so having a different upbringing, which she thought was going to really hinder her, and it did hinder her at first, but once she stops being like nervous about being different, and embracing herself, like, she is just so like confident, and she's such a spitfire. She plays by the rules, but in her own way, if that makes sense. The side characters in here are also really interesting. There is one side character who I believe is autistic. He doesn't speak that much, and he uses a tablet to kind of write things down. And like, their friendship is just really wholesome. And Akus is also, I believe, either bisexual or pansexual. And there is kind of a little hint of polyamory at the end. And it's just like so refreshing. Like, the main character, her whole entire like existence is just refreshing. And she's such a strong like young woman. Like, she really is just like, I know where I came from. I know who I am. You're not going to change me. Like, cool, if your way of life works for you, like, you shouldn't force that on me. And I'm not going to force my way on you either. Like, she's just very smart and resourceful and a spitfire. Really great. I don't love a lot of YA lately. And I was, as per usual, a little nervous to go into a YA, but this one really swept me off my feet. I really found it endearing. I love the characters. I love the world. Her family is just really cool as well. And not to mention the dragons. The dragons are so cool. We get to see her dragon kind of grow up a little bit. Like, we see it in the beginning when it hatches and then it goes to school with her, and like, her dragon is learning and as well. Like, her dragon is there in class with her, and they're having to learn to do this together. So I think that's really cute because you can kind of see that bond forming. Like, slowly you see them getting closer and closer, and the dragon trusts her a lot, which is really great. And then she learns to just keep trusting herself. And it's such a good YA fantasy with dragons. I love it. I do have a copy of the sequel. I have a review copy, which I have not gotten to yet. I did actually start reading it, but it's been so long since I read book 1. I just, to refresh my memory and then jump into book 2. But yeah, this world is fantastic. And also, the author, Monoquill Blackgoose, I believe is from an area in Rhode Island that I used to like live and work in. So like, some of these things that she talks about really felt like home to me. And it really, really just connected me to the story in a way I was not expecting. And one of the side characters has a story that is really similar to my husband's ancestry. So this story really took me by surprise when I read it. And book 2 is called To Ride a Rising Storm. So for those of you who are interested, both of them have dragons. I haven't read book 2 yet, but I'm absolutely sure there are dragons in it. So you can just add that in as a bonus book here. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Yes, this is the second John Gwynne book on this list, and I'm not sorry about it. In this story, it will follow 3 characters, and they are Orca, Elvar, and Varg. Orca is a mother, and her plot kind of takes her on this revenge quest, but also a quest to get her son back. Varg is an escaped slave, and he seeks revenge for his sister, who he is pretty sure has been murdered. He doesn't have concrete proof, but he can feel it that she's dead, and he wants to hire a witch to see her last moments so he can know who to get a hold of and get revenge against. And then we follow Elvar, who is a Jarl's daughter, and he is like really famous and has a lot of glory, and she's kind of living in his shadow, but she joins like a Viking group to go off and get her own glory, and just seek her own name, like to make a name for herself because she's tired of living under his shadow. And we follow all three of these characters as their plots slowly, very slowly start to intertwine. And we realize towards the end, like what that connection is. There is a dragon in here. You can see her on the cover. I won't tell you much about her because that is something you need to figure out for yourself. She isn't like super prevalent in the early stages of the book, but you start to understand her story and see more of the dragon towards the end. And if you can look here, like look how tiny this little person is. Like, are you joking me? And then look how big that dragon is. Now that's a fucking dragon. If I've ever seen a dragon, like it's huge. I think if that was me standing there on that hill facing literally the world's biggest behemoth of a dragon I've ever seen, I would just shit my pants and then pass away. So yeah, but Orca is one of my favorite characters of all time. She's such a badass. She's also really hot, if you haven't noticed. Not only is she strong, capable, literally so fierce, she will fuck you up. She will do anything to get her son back. She doesn't want to be violent, but she is absolutely capable of being the most violent bitch in town. She will destroy you if you get in the way of her finding her son. She will rip your face off and shove it up your ass. Like, I love her. I support women's rights and I support Orca's wrongs 1,010%. She's so fantastic. I really love that we get two female perspectives in here because both of these women are absolutely powerful, strong, capable. Like it's just so refreshing to see like two really powerful women. And Varg is strong as well, but he does start off a little meeker just because of his circumstances. So it's kind of nice to see that the two women are like really strong and have really big muscles and are like in charge of things and, you know, can fuck you up and shit. And then Varg, who is also strong, like I said, he is also strong, but he does kind of have to go through some training to kind of get to like the level where he's like fighting and capable and stuff. So it's just great to see two powerful badass women. I love them so much, especially Orca. Orca is literally like one of my favorite characters of all time. This book is probably like one of my favorite books of all time. And I say that like, I know I always say like Strange the Dreamer is one of my favorite books of all time, but like really this one, they're so close together and they're so different from each other. Like it's so hard to compare them, but this is just, it's like Skyrim. If you've ever played Skyrim, which is like my all-time favorite game, it's like one game that I really just latched onto when I was younger and have played over like 3,000 hours of it on various different platforms. Like this felt like reading Skyrim, but different because it's not like Skyrim, but it is like Skyrim, if that makes sense. Like if you like Skyrim and you like the dragons and you like the fighting and the Nordic vibes, you're going to like this because it's like the same. It's Vikings, it's Nordic, you know, it's dragons. This is great. I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. I love the writing. I think John Gwynne is like literally a master at writing fight scenes. Like he puts so much emotion into them that sometimes I almost forget I'm reading a fight scene because you're getting like inner monologue, you're getting character relationships, you're getting like thoughts and fears and hopes and dreams at the same time that like swords are clashing. And he does this really cool thing where like you're seeing a battle from multiple angles at a time, like chapter to chapter. And it's almost like if a film crew were to be like in the middle of a battlefield and you're just like changing POVs, like rotating constantly, like that's how it feels. Like you're getting all of these glimpses throughout the battle that really make the stakes feel high. Every single person involved in a battle feels like a real person. They don't feel like a cardboard character. So it really just makes the battle feel intense because you're like, oh my God, who's going to win? Who's going to die? Whose hopes and dreams are about to end here? Or whose struggle is about to come to fruition here. You know, like it really just puts everything into perspective. I think he's just such a master at what he does in that scenario, and it's just beautiful. Chef's kiss. Could not recommend it more. And the next book I'm going to recommend is Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucier, and this is a very summery dragon book. Hanalei of Tamarind is the cherished daughter of an old island family, but when her father steals a sea dragon egg meant for an ailing princess, she is forced into a life of exile. In the years that follow, Hanalei finds solace in studying the majestic sea dragons that roam the Nomi Nomi Sea, until one day an encounter with a female dragon offers her what she desires most, a chance to return home and to right a terrible wrong. Samati Tamahenale, or Sam, is the last remaining prince of Tamarind, but he can never inherit the throne, for Tamarind is a matriarchal society. With his mother ill and his grandmother nearing the end of her reign, Sam is left with two choices: to marry or to find a cure for the sickness that has plagued his mother for 10 long years. When a childhood companion returns from exile, she brings with her something he has not felt in a very long time: hope. But Hanalei and Sam are not the only ones searching for the dragon fruit. And as they battle enemies both near and far, there is another danger they cannot escape, that of the dragon fruit itself. This book has so many fun elements to it. The dragons are sea dragons, so they are primarily in the water. They can come on land, but they are mostly in the water. And the dragon fruit itself is what they call the dragon egg. It's called the dragon fruit. And there is tattoo magic. I don't know if you can see on the cover. Oh, on her neck here. There is tattoos, and the tattoos also have a magic, and it's so cool. I think the magic system in here is very unique. Dragon fruit is also heavily inspired by the mythology and folklore of the Pacific Islands. So it's like rich in culture. The author is Own Voices as well. So if that was something you were wondering, then yes, she is Own Voices, Pacific Islander. And the story is just very rich in atmosphere and culture. Hanalei is an interesting character to follow. She's really introspective, you know, having been exiled from her home. Like she kind of has no one but herself to rely on. And so she's very like introspective and thoughtful in her dealings with other people and creatures and dragons and whatever else. She is also really caring despite the circumstances of her exile. And I think that really shows through. She's a fantastic character. Great summer read, which is also nice. So if you're in the midst of looking for a summery fantasy that you would like to get into, I highly recommend Dragon Fruit. This would be a great read to read by a beach because there is a lot of like water and ocean travel and scenery and like imagery just in general. So this would definitely be a really good quick beach read as well. And last but not least, I would like to recommend A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. My camera battery is going to die. I need to make this quick. I'm so sorry. So this book is written as if it's a fake memoir. Like it is written as a memoir, but it's fake. It is about a woman named Lady Trent, and it is about her becoming a dragon like history naturalist. She wants to study dragons and learn all she can about them and write books about them so more people can learn and you know, she can share her knowledge with the world. It says, here at last, in her own words, is the true story of a pioneering spirit who risked her reputation, her prospects, and her fragile flesh and bone to satisfy her scientific curiosity of how she sought true love and happiness despite her lamentable eccentricities, and her thrilling expedition to the perilous mountains of Vistrania, where she made the first of many historic discoveries that would change the world forever. So basically, Lady Trent kind of goes against society's wishes for women. I think she's supposed to marry someone, and she's just like, no, I don't love you. I want to go study dragons. But then she meets someone who appreciates her for who she is, like enjoys the fact that she wants to read and, you know, enjoys the fact that she wants to educate herself, loves that she is so knowledgeable and capable and inquisitive and curious about dragons. And I think that it's just a story about how being true to yourself can really just make your dreams come true and get you where you want to go in life. And unfortunately for her, where she wants to go in life is really close to dragons to study them. And she's not exactly physically equipped to, like, you know, fight or run from dragons. But that's kind of the risk that she's willing to take. She will do whatever it takes for the pursuit of scientific knowledge. And I love that about her. She's very stubborn, to maybe to her own detriment, but it's all for the sake of science. And that is just so fun. It gives a kind of light academia feel, even though it is like a fake nonfiction memoir. It is so fun. I really love it. I've only read book 1. This is a series. I think there's like 6 or 7 of them. I need to reread it. It's been quite a long time since I have read book 1, Story of My Life. I need to continue the series. It's a character flaw and I'm working on it. Those are the 7 books with dragon recommendations that I have for you today. If you made it this far in the video, I would love to know if you've read any of these, and if so, did you like them or did you hate them? I loved all of these. Some of them are definitely like my favorite books of all time, and then some of them I just liked a lot and really recommend and enjoyed, which is fine. They're still great books. They're all very different from each other, or most of them are very different from each other. And I like that I do have multiple like genres and atmospheres on this list of recommendations for you. So if you're a historical reader, you could pick up Lady Trent or Six Wild Crowns. If you're a fantasy reader, the rest of the books will be right up your alley. And of course, if you made it this far in the video, leave a dragon emoji down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!